As a law student, I was part of the human rights class. However, I did not know that there's a Refugee Act.
It has been more of a luxury for me, They come into Uganda, they will give them our land.
Why do refugees have to get so much support and protection, and it is not given to the host community people?
So these refugees, they're aliens, they're coming to our country. So what, are they supposed to be equal as us, the nationals? Do they also deserve rights?
Coming from a society, especially a society that's not very inclusive, I thought these are diseased people, they are very dirty, all these things, they are not to be associated with. Much as I knew that men can be raped in conflict, I did not know the forms. I was used to like anal penetration, and that was all. I have learned that for as long as a refugee is doing gainful employment, then they are definitely going to pay taxes. The fact that they are paying taxes actually is a form of integration into the country. We had the privilege of, interacting with 2 refugees, survivors of sexual violence, and they definitely changed my perspective, and even from the videos that we watched, seeing that actually these people are not diseased as we thought. They are not dirty people. They're not just, they are human beings, they are human beings like us. There are certain perceptions we have. These people, for example, these are the same, I think, attitudes that are within the host communities. These people are, relying on our resources. We are the taxpayers, we're not getting services, they're getting free cooking oil, they're doing all these things. But now you actually look at them in a sense that they are in flight and they have a heavy plight, that their problems are weighty. And as a human being, you have to be humane.
One of the things that I've learned is that I've been trying to underrate the problems that refugees actually face and the issues that are involved in conflict. And I think the world out there hasn't been informed of what's going on. After this, I realized that as humans, we have a duty to actually provide a sanctuary or a haven to these people. Yes, I think that has been my greatest take. I realized it's more of humanity. I was surprised by one of the presentations on transitional justice. I realized that almost every community in Uganda has undergone a conflict. I'm very scared of conflict at this time, Previously, we've been reading about it. It's been so far, People have been talking about regime change, at what cost. Personally, I think from what I've learned today is that, one, members of society should always come up with humane ways of resolving conflicts, yes? Because to many that do not know, the cost of war is very, very, very high to pay.
I did not understand the depth, the foundation, the reason as to why people are pushed. What could be the causes of why people leave those places to come into a place like Uganda? Why, even the other bit that really struck me, the fact that I came with a mentality of Uganda has a camp. The camp set up because that is what I grew up knowing. But then I was struck when I saw that Uganda has a settlement, something to settle down someone, to create a homestead for someone, to give them a start of a livelihood they could have anticipated or they could have had back home. The rights that the constitution we have, the rights that are provided by our constitution are the same rights that are provided for the refugees. As a law student, I am pushed and triggered to offer that legal representation that is not given to a refugee or forced migrant because of the status.
On regards to mental health, I'd had a bit of issues understanding the concept of post-traumatic stress disorder, but after this course, I now understand why there is even a need for a mental health act of sorts to regulate some of these misconceptions. For example, that refugees and persons who have been through conflict need even more attention because of the mental health problems that they may face, which may not manifest on the physical, but rather they are emotional and they go deep down into their cerebral faculties.
Sexual violence, first of all, in our society, it is an issue that is not talked about because it is seen as a private issue. If it is sex, you're having it from your bedroom and with your partner, no one should talk about it. When it comes to forced migrants, then it becomes even worse because these people have gone through sexual violence in conflict, and them to open up, it's hard. But during that session of sexual violence, we heard from first-hand victims and survivors of sexual violence. That coupled with the documentaries we watched, plus the presentations, we saw what sexual violence is. Some of us had a fixed definition of rape, that there's only penetration of sex organs and can only be between a man and a woman according to our Penal Code Act. But then we've actually learned that it is a wide scope. Men can also be raped. Then the perpetrators of rape, actually some humanitarian workers, we've been thinking, oh, humanitarian workers, these are people who they're taking help. But then we also realize that actually in that help, they sometimes ask sex as a price you pay for the help they are giving. So we've enlarged the scope. We've seen that the scope is really large. Some of us didn't know about rape using objects, raping men with sticks, that men also be raped. So that second training also, it enlarged our thinking about sexual violence, especially in conflicts.
And something that I hope that can be carried on by organizations, by stakeholders in the space for refugee law is, let's provide safe spaces for men that have been sexually violated. They too have voices that need to be heard.
I call myself a lucky student of law because I got a chance to get to know about refugee and migration laws at such a stage, in that my field of law and my field of operation widened. My scope of thinking widened. I'm not thinking about the criminal bit, I'm not thinking about the commercialized bit, because literally that's a field that everyone is running for. But because refugee and migration laws is a rich area that has so much hidden, and it needs to be tackled. So I feel like the curriculum we have is not giving opportunity for very many students or very many people to actually understand or get to know that this area is also a very essential area in the legal profession.
A lawyer of today needs to be very, very, very all-round. They need to be vigilant, they need to be assertive, they need to know a couple of things that may not be taught in a classroom. I believe that it's very important that we include a course unit on refugee law, most especially because Uganda has a very rich history on hosting refugees, and also that Uganda is surrounded by conflict, which conflict could anytime spill over into our own nation. So it's very key that the people in Uganda and the students who are studying the law learn such courses in order to prepare for any such emergencies.
That my outlook on the way refugees are handled in the legal system has definitely changed. For example, we were given an example in the training that in some of these countries, their cultures, girls can be married at 16, that's their age of consent. And then you marry a girl at 17 and the police arrests you for defilement. So as a lawyer, as an advocate, as a judicial officer, it gets back to me and I have to ask myself, how will I treat a person like this? I have learned to be a little more sensitive to refugees. My attitude towards them has changed in the sense that my heart is now more willing to help and to accommodate, especially in the legal sector, because I personally would want to actually represent these people, because I'm very sure that they are in courts of law, they are being tried, yet they have no idea of what's going on,